You can be a very good surgeon and you can have very good instruments, osteotomes. But 1 in 100 patients, you can have unwanted breaking lines. 1 in 1 patient for you. But if it happens to the patient, for the patient, it's 100% happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Rhinoplasty podcast with me, Dr. Cameron McIntosh. We're in the month of March with our special topic being the influencers. And it's brought us by Allergan. A big shout out to Allergan for enabling this month. Now, the reason why I've called it the influencers are the people that I have invited for the month are they wear 2 caps. On the one side, they are hugely influential in the world of rhinoplasty, but also on the other side, they're on the social media side of things. They kind of set the benchmark. And all the way from Istanbul in Turkey, actually right now in Nice, France, at one of the meetings there, is Dr. Goksel. Welcome to an episode of the Rhinoplasty podcast.
Thank you, Cameron, for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here. Actually, we started earlier when I was in Istanbul, then I flew to Nice, so we are completing this podcast in Nice, France.
That's great.
It was also enjoyable.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. But I know you love traveling and you've been all over the world. You've got a lot of congresses in the next few weeks, but one of the highlights was having you in South Africa a few years ago. We went on a safari together.
It was amazing. It was unforgettable. So I always talk about it with my friends, and I remember. I'm waiting the next one. So you promised me to visit vineyards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely.
I know that South African wines are spectacular. So then I'm waiting my turn again.
Okay. No, it will come. Tell me a bit about some of the other rhinoplasty legends in the world who also enjoy the fine taste of good wine.
Yeah, who doesn't? So it's
okay.
It's kind of hobby for me, actually. I love it. So I read a lot about wine production. So near future, hopefully, I will create my own chateau in Turkey. So I call it already Chateau Portugais. Portugais means needle holder. So
well,
I will mix my surgical part with my wine tasting part. So I don't know the taste yet, but hopefully it will be good.
So this is interesting. Earlier today, I was recording a podcast with Alwyn de Souza. And Alwyn was telling me about his passion, that he loves to listen to music, make food, and drink good wine. And he was thinking of making a cookbook about facial plastic surgery and a cookbook. And I'm thinking he needs to partner with you so you can do the wine part of this cookbook. I think it could be something quite interesting.
It's a great idea. I will ask him.
Okay.
My another hobby is music, actually. Yeah? I'm passionate about music. So I play electric guitar, jazz guitar, and clarinet. So I know that a lot of rhinoplasty surgeons all around the world, so from Australia, from South Africa, they play some instruments. So it was my plan because I had a travel to Australia. I was the guest speaker in the meeting in Sydney. So I heard that the owner of the meeting is playing drum. Then we decided to make a jam session, but we couldn't do it. So it's still my goal to make it in some meeting, to meet with friends, because it's possible now. I'm from Turkey, Istanbul, you're from Africa, so from Australia, we can make jam session online, then we can make some practice and we can play in person in some meetings. It would be great.
Well, later in the month, one of the guests is Jay Calvert, and I've actually pre-recorded his podcast already, and he was very close to becoming a rock star. But he decided to become a rhinoplasty surgeon. Now he's a bit of a rock star rhinoplasty surgeon. But he loves a guitar. So I think you guys could make a wicked band.
Yeah, I know his story. We were talking with him for earlier.
Wow. Okay, so Goksel, let's look at a question I have for you. I mean, you're a very influential rhinoplasty surgeon. You're very involved with the Evidencebased research and rhinoplasty group and running preservation meetings, etc., etc. Maybe you want to tell the listeners, where did this all start for you?
Okay, I just want to make one correction. Evidence-based rhinoplasty group is something different than ours because our group is International Rhinoplasty Research Group, so IRRS, but that name is similar. That's why people mix it up, but doesn't matter. I am the member of IRRS, so we have the same passion with all the group members. We try to learn more about nose, rhinoplasty. We try to improve ourselves and share with open heart, open mind. Then it made sense in my career, actually, because I learned a lot. I taught something. I shared my knowledge. So I like to share, by the way. That's why I always operate almost every morning in Istanbul. So I have always guests in my OR because when I'm operating, I'm relaxed. I'm not a nervous surgeon, I can say. So I like to draw, I like to explain what I'm doing. When you're teaching, when you're sharing, you also learn because when you're teaching, the ideas are coming easier. So I think it's the way I learn.
I remember when we were doing the live surgery in Durban a few years ago, our feed to where the surgeons were sitting in the building next door watching went down. And then we invited them to come actually to the OR. And I can't believe how many surgeons managed to get in there and were craning their necks to see what you were doing. It was one of my memorable moments of rhinoplasty surgery.
Yeah, it was a very nice, unbelievable memory. And I have the photograph in my iPhone. I always see it. And sometimes I cannot find myself in the group.
So I want to ask you a question now. The IRRS guys, obviously, very influential for such a kind of a small group of surgeons. And I would almost say two of the things that stand out is the influence that it's had around piezo surgery and now also in terms of preservation rhinoplasty. So perhaps you want to share a bit of your thoughts around piezo.
So actually, step by step, piezo, the first story about Piezo started in 2014, and we met in Nice, France, Nice, again, the same city where I am now. And we met with Olivier Gerbeau, Yves Saban, Milos Kovacevic, Boris Çakır was with us, Rick Davis, Enrico Robotti, and Peter Palhazi. So we had a group. We were discussing about the new technologies, and Olivier brought a Piezo device. It was the first generation. So we made the competition in that small think tank group. I was supporting classical osteotomes that time. So I was telling them that I'm happy with my osteotome because I do a lot of surgeries, so I have good results. Why I have to change it? So I was not thinking to change. Then Boris was doing scraper with my manual one, so he was supporting his scraper device. Then Olivier brought the machine, so we made the competition. And it was the lab, and we had the specimens. So I had one specimen for the osteotome, and others have the one. So I was the winner at the end. I was the fastest one, and precisely I did the osteotomy with my classical osteotome. But what happened then I changed because, you can be a very good surgeon and you can have very good instruments, osteotomes, the classical one. But 1 in 100 patients, you can have unwanted breaking lines. 1 in 1 patient for you. But if it happens to the patient, for the patient, it's 100% happened. So we cannot get that risk for the patients. From patient's point of view, we have to protect them. So if there is a device which we can use easily in rhinoplasty and make it zero risk about the unwanted breaking lines, and we can reshape the bony part without damaging the soft tissue, why not? Then I became the supporter of Piezo because it was really logical. So it is a little bit slower than the classical instruments, but who cares? I mean, the 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, maybe less, then it works wonderful. That's why I still use Piezo for my all cases, it's my standard. And I think because of the piezo, I switched to preservation. If there would be no piezo, because if I would not design my osteotomies precisely, maybe I would not switch to preservation, because in preservation rhinoplasty, you have to make your osteotomies very low on the fascial groove, and you have to make precisely sagittally, not the horizontally. So it's a little bit advanced talk, but anyway, piezo made sense for me, and it gave me power to switch preservation. Of course, if someone taught us how to do it easier way, that's why we were able to do it. And I highly recommend to make some anatomic lap dissections for all rhinoplasty surgeons before doing in the live surgery. But anyway, we were the pioneer. I did first open approach preservation rhinoplasty, because everybody were thinking that it's just for close approach. So I proved that I can preserve the ligaments. I can preserve a lot of structure when I'm doing preservation in open approach. But because of this preservation, now I switched to close approach again. So 50% closed, 50% open, because I don't need to do middle wall reconstruction. And if I'm not doing middle wall reconstruction, why I have to open all the nose? So almost half of the cases, I don't dissect the skin on the dorsum. So it's amazing. It's unbelievable.
Wow. That's great. And I mean, we can see those results personally, I'm not there in Istanbul to see what's happening, which is going to happen in a few weeks' time. But what we see is in our talks and on social media and stuff is amazing. So it's interesting to say that half of it is preservation, half of it structural. That's because this is the thing that I sometimes I'm struggling with is I think my own kind of almost reluctance with preservation is I've seen quite a lot of guys using it as a marketing tool.
Yeah, sure. If something is new and less traumatic, so they use as a marketing tool, of course. But it's not the bad thing, actually. Patients have to know what is new in rhinoplasty. Of course, surgeon decides if it fits with that nose and which technique is better. And it depends on the surgeon's experience, and it depends on the patient's nose. But anyway, I think it's not bad that they're advertising.
Tell me, how do you find time to balance all the traveling and the lectures and the work and stuff in your life?
You are asking tough questions, Cameron. So it's and now I will say you that I find time for my family life. Same time, then my family will listen this podcast, then it will make problem in my private life because it's not easy. Seriously, I travel a lot and I work a lot, because between that travels, I'm operating in Istanbul and I'm consulting with my patients. Of course, if you put a lot of weight in your job and you're taking that time from your private life, of course, I cannot find a lot, but I do a small trick. I don't work every day when I'm in Istanbul. So I separate my days. Weekends, they are my family time. So Saturday and Sunday. And week time, I operate every day, but I don't make consultation every day. So after the operation, some days I'm free. So afternoon is mine. I have boat. I'm sometimes sailing because we have very nice islands around Istanbul. So there is possibility to escape from the city. So if you want so much, you're finding time for everything.
That's cool. That's a very inspiring thing to have time off like that. Okay. Another difficult question for you. What have been some of the difficult times in your career in the last 30 years or whatever it's been of doing rhinoplasty? And how did you overcome that? Because I want to get to this thing of resilience, because it's easy to be a success quickly, but how do you continue succeeding in your life? It's more like a philosophical question. Eh?
Yeah, it is so philosophical question, but I will not answer philosophically. I will answer politically. So, you asked the hardest time. Okay, in about my career. I think the hardest time is where I started with, because once you start, everything goes by itself. I mean, first movement is the most important move, as I think, because I remember my first rhinoplasty. I was thinking that I would struggle a lot, but it was the fastest rhinoplasty in my life. So it took just 25 minutes.
Wow.
Yes, because it was just a reduction surgery. They taught me that way. But it was the same time hardest surgery in my life, because it was my first rhinoplasty and I didn't know exactly what to do. They were helping me. My teachers were helping me. Result was quite good and patient was really happy. And I can say that it was the tough one, but I remember in my career, the worst moment in my career was operating my own daughter. Yes, it was the hardest operation in my life. I couldn't sleep one night earlier. You cannot believe how I was in stress. After all this career, after all these years, I was like a child. And I remember my first surgery that time. So I can say two moments, hardest moments. First one was the first surgery. It took very short time. The second one was my own daughter's surgery, and it took about 3 hours.
Sure.
You know the story. Why time is not getting shorter? By the time you learn a lot, you see a lot of deformities. If you don't know a lot, you don't see the deformities. Once you improve your knowledge, once you get experienced surgeon, you see a lot of details. And when you see that details, you cannot escape. You have to fix all that details. Then it takes more time. In my daughter's surgery, it was the hardest decision in my life to operate my own daughter or not, because I have a lot of good rhinoplasty surgeons around me. And I could ask one of them. And I asked myself, if there would be complication, it can happen in my hand or in my friend's hand. If there would be complication after the surgery, how I would talk with my friend and how I would ask them to make revision, it would be really hard. And if I would do the revision by myself, why I'm not doing the first surgery in this case? Then I decided to do it by myself, and I told my daughter, there can be complication, and I would fix it. Anyway, prepare yourself. Then, for me, it was the decision. I think I did a good job. She's happy. I don't see her nose. It's the main. When I go home, I don't remember that I operated her. So it looks natural. And this is the result which I want.
That's great, eh? Yes. That's lovely. Okay. So you've had a busy day traveling all the way from Istanbul to Nice. And after this, it's to Dallas. And then it's to Bergamo. And then it's to Stuttgart.
Yeah.
Leave us with the listeners of maybe a funny story that happened to you. I mean, that happens every day. You're always smiling on Instagram. You're living a nice life, But what are some of the, maybe you can think of a story that happened to you with a patient or something that was quite amusing.
It's also a hard question. I have to prepare myself before. Cameron, break.
Okay, we'll just call it a break then. Guys from all around the world, thank you for listening in. Elegant, thank you so much for enabling us to be able to interview these wonderful human beings, guys who just love rhinoplasty, love life, and inspire us to become better surgeons. So enjoy the course in Nice. It's a long way away from South Africa. I'm very sorry I'm not there. Please send fond regards to everybody over there, especially to Yves Saban.
Thank you, Cameron. Thank you for having me in this podcast. So I'm really happy to see you also. So hope to see you soon in Istanbul, by the way. Bye-bye.